Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having.
Good evening, Python.
Shush, shush, shush. We don't need any of your Australians' ass here. So, good, good morning from the East Coast of the U.S., where it is currently 4 o'clock in the morning. I hope you guys are having a comfy time with good old hackathon here. I'm going to be running MGS Portable Ops for you guys. This is released in about 2006 or 2007. It says 2007 at the bottom of the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and trust that. But it was the first MGS game on the PSP, and by Jove, it shows. So with me for commentary help, I've got Mr. Iridescence.
That's me.
That's you. So,
And, yeah.
Before we get started, I promise to keep this brief because we are still kind of behind on the schedule. But there's a couple of things I need to mention. First off is that we are playing the new game category, which means we are only going to be available to run on normal as the highest. And secondly, what I'm going to be running is actually going to be the Tsuchinoko route, which means basically that's the highest rank you can get in this game on normal difficulty without recruiting 100 soldiers. We'll get more into that as we go, but I'm going to be striving for no alerts, no continues, no kills, etc. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. We'll hit the we'll hit the button in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so the one thing you'll probably notice about Portable Ops is that its frame rate is really bad. And this has some both good and bad effects on the game. One of them, it makes certain enemies move really slow, and you'll see that pretty quickly on. And it also is somewhat hard to play the other average person, but we're in prison, and first we need to get out of here.
Yeah. Something I should probably explain is that this is a PSP game. I am playing currently on a PS TV, and despite the fact that I have an actual controller at my disposal, I still prefer the claw method for using the camera, which this game is running off of a modified portable version of the MGS3 Subsistence engine. So that's kind of why this game kind of runs at such a sluggish, beautiful, 20 FPS or so. But yeah.
Yeah, it's for its time back in 2007, this being something you could play on the train or in the car, it was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And it stays pretty true to a Metal Gear-esque game. But quickly, what you're gonna see here is Python's gonna be showing off one of the main strats in the run, which we call the bonk roll. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You bonk through them because Snake has the ability to just pass through guards. And then you roll because the hitbox on Snake's roll is absurd. And you can send guards flying from quite a distance away.
Snake's thunder thighs have quite the force behind them.
Indeed. And but whilst we've got a little bit of cutscene and unskippable look at a radar dish, Tsuchinoko, as Python said, is the highest rank obtainable in a speedrun sense, because I don't know any speedrunner who wants to collect 100 soldiers in this game. You'd have to purposely re-enter levels you don't need to, and it's pointless. So we're going to be aiming for, as he said, 0 kills, 0 alerts, no continues, and the no kills, that extends to boss fights as well.
Yes. In fact, one we're specifically going to aim to non-lethally deal with, because there's a recruitment mechanic in this game. It's kind of the predecessor to what Peace Walker and MGS5 expanded on. And in order to avoid that necessity, we pick up two necessary comrades, and then we non-lethal a boss who becomes our comrade later on in the run. But we're only going to actually have 2 at a time active anywhere. And we'll get more into that as it becomes relevant. That's the wrong map. Alright, so this game has probably the second or third most menuing involved in the route. In between every mission, we have a small briefing window where we get to choose where we go, who we're taking, the equipment they have on them, all that sort of thing. And that's going to be a lot of where the time save in this run comes from, aside from just knowing the optimal path through this through the stages themselves.
Yep. G'day OCM. Thank you for joining us. I don't know what time it is for you. But you're gonna get a quick look at the auto aim. In this game, it's not the most reliable of things. We'll say that. However, you can get lucky, and sometimes Snake will just decide he wants to shoot somebody dead in the head with it. But most of the time, he'll either shoot him in the chest or he'll just completely miss.
All right, so really quickly, this next map is basically where the game decides whether or not we'll have a Tsuchinoko run available to start. So we're gonna recruit our first comrade here in the supply depot. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to ambush someone from around a corner, but he's actually facing the direction we're coming from already. So we have to grab him pretty much, I wouldn't say frame perfectly. Then again, it may be frame perfect because 20 FPS, haha. But we have to turn the corner and grab him, and we got him. No alert.
Yeah, so the thing is with Johnny, and this guy's name is Johnny, no connection to the Johnny everyone knows and loves. But, he can do a few things. He can either just decide to throw an alert, which kills your Tsuchinoko rank right away. He can decide to not get knocked out when you throw him down. We don't know why that happens. It just does. He can also drop us some tranquilizer ammo, which is really nice. It fell right into you as well. So,
Yeah.
get a bit of good RNG. And that's recruiting a soldier. As you can see, unlike Peace Walker, where you had the Fulton, this is incredibly slow, and no one wants to do this for 100 times, so...
Yeah.
Plus, Tsuchinoko sounds cooler than... Is it Doberman, I think?
Yeah, Doberman and normal. So here we actually have to put Johnny into our sneaking unit, and that is a whole lot more difficult than it seems to do that quickly, because the menus in this game eat inputs left and right. So, I would suggest learning this game because it's a very beginner-friendly route for an MGS game. But just be aware that menuing will probably not look so smooth. I have spent entirely too much time over the last few weeks nailing the menuing more than anything, really. Who's
Yeah, the Aussie guy. I am the Aussie guy. I'm Iridescence. I play some Metal Gear Solid games, including this one.
Yeah, Iridescence has started to learn this a little bit. He's kind of put it on the back burner for the time being, for reasons. But, yeah. So, these missions are separated into, like, 3 or 4 categories. There's the ones where you just run to a mission square. There's the ones where you have to pick up an item. There's ones that end in bosses that you have to defeat. For the ones that you just run... Those are pretty nice little breaks throughout the run. And you may notice that while I was taking control of Johnny there, up in the top left corner there was a chameleon icon. The chameleon icon basically means that we are disguised among the enemy soldiers in the map we're in. As long as we don't do anything suspicious like attack, roll, crawl, or climb a ladder for whatever reason, the enemy will just think we're one of them and won't raise too much of a big stink about anything we do.
Yeah, my denomination about the ladder thing is just that the enemies haven't yet been introduced to ladders. So when they see somebody doing something they can't do, they get a little bit antsy about it.
And here's our second guy we're going to recruit, and we're going to do it a different way because in the hospital, this is where the secondary method actually becomes known to you. We can drop an enemy near a box and call if codec frequency to recruit, but in this case, if we just drop a guy next to a box and they'll call us immediately. And this is why he's the second guy we grab. Technically, we don't need him to progress the story, but it will make RNG much more favorable for us later on.
Somebody in chat would like to know what microphone you are using.
I am using a BM800 condenser mic.
There you go.
I don't have an audio mixer. This is just how the mic sounds.
Oh, it sounds good, actually. It's not a bad mic.
No, not at all.
Anyhow, our mission objective is denominated by these red squares for the most part. That are an item, as Python said earlier. You can roll through them and not hit the load or the trigger. That is a thing. Of course, as we said earlier, it's the first game on a PSP, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But interesting things can happen in this game.
And Noob Salmon, I'm using a homegrown American voice. Born and raised. So, this is going to be the last map we actually use Johnny for the next, like, 10 to 15 minutes of the run. So we're going to be going back to Snake here shortly after this mission. And this is going to... After this mission starts where what I said, the RNG is gonna really start. Because this game included a unit called the Spy Unit, and in order to progress the story, in specific cases, you need to send the Spy Unit out to maps. And when they decide to give you the reports you need is completely up to their own whims.
Yeah, they can give it to you after one wait cycle. They can give it to you after 5 if they really want. It's just...
What's his status?
It's all luck, and hopefully we get good RNG. Usually it's not too bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty okay.
I have measures in place in the route I'll be taking to kind of mitigate that. So here's to hoping that it doesn't backfire on me.
Also, we're going to take a quick second to appreciate that Johnny, before he became a mercenary, was actually a gymnast. He like sticks that landing perfectly every time without fail.
Seriously though, it's incredible. So, in classic Metal Gear Solid style, a lot of this run is skipping codecs and cutscenes, and there's a lot of text to skip through. But here we're actually going to send Johnny out of our sneaking unit, like I said. We're going to put him down into the supply depot, and we're going to wait. Now, this report is automatic. You'll always get it the first try. But the ones after this, they're all down to how the game feels like treating you at the particular moment. So we got to go back to the supply depot because now there is a map there that Johnny found, and we got to go grab it.
But for some reason, Johnny didn't feel like getting it for himself, so we have to go do it.
Johnny's a bit lazy.
He
sometimes.
found it, but he left it there.
Yeah, when I get bad RNG with spy reports, I always claim it's Johnny just being lazy. Which, I mean, it's not wrong.
He got diarrhea, you know.
Yeah, something like that. That witch took his clothes.
And he hates Alaska.
Yes, of course. So I'm actually, usually on like an any percent run, I won't grab these, but in this specific instance for marathon safety and for a Tsuchinoko run, I will generally try and grab those. And then the secret document up on this little platform here, and we're good to go. Yeah, RNG and speedruns. This one, in terms of like Metal Gear games, this is probably the worst for RNG. So it's usually not that bad.
It's actually, if I think about all the Metal Gear runs that I know, which is all of the main games, I would say, this is the only one that has constant RNG that can really mess things up. A little bit of MGS2, but this is the most RNG in any Metal Gear game that I can remember, unless you count the Acid games, which is a card game, which
that's just
card
RNG.
game.
Also, OCM, one cool man in chat, asks for my best Snake voice. But did you guys know? I think Hackathon's pretty good. So, ooh,
I got
nice.
to a die. We're being moved all around the I have a feeling we were left in the general chat and not moved to the stream channel.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Uh-oh. So anyway, we got our first spy report, thankfully, which is going back to the supply depot for the third time. And there was a bit of speed tech there. Usually there's a mission briefing before you go into these missions, but if you go into the mission directly after taking the spy report for it, if you just spam the skip text button, it'll completely skip the text, no animation or anything, which is pretty nice. So, in order to avoid an alert here, we're just going to hug this left wall and kind of wait for this guy to cycle through. And then we're
Yeah, this wall is our friend.
And then we're just going to...
It's
Yeah.
It's a perfect movement buffer, and we're gonna blow up a truck. Also, you'll find that this guard, he's just looks at it, he's like, not again, and just walks away. He's like, oh well, truck's gone now.
There was a truck here. It's gone now. So that was one good RNG. Now so didn't quite get the good RNG for the second one, and in fact we got pretty bad RNG. I'm gonna check my guys. Yeah, they're in the right place. So in between missions we have access to 3 wait commands, which progresses the time in game 12 hours, and gives our spies an opportunity to come back with a report. It also heals your soldiers in your unit in case they're missing any health or stamina. And holy smokes. Come on, guys.
This is pretty bad RNG.
Yeah, I've been trying to brainstorm ideas of how to make the RNG more favorable, and I have not come up with anything so far. Usually it's not this bad, though. And no problem, OCM.
The fact that we've gone through
There we
6
go.
wait commands, we've got ammo that we don't need though, so at least they did that for us.
Yeah, right. So, now we move them down to the research lab, go and do our Soviet patrol base mission, again doing the text skip because we didn't do anything besides take the report, move our guys, and then go to the mission. Now this one's a little more interesting than the supply depot. In this case, we're going to have to kind of waste time in order to kind of progress the cycle in a fashion that's much more favorable for us. So we're just going to casually drop down those 2 platforms instead of rolling down. Then make our way back up. Now I'm going to remove my TNT from my equipment here for a sec. And then grab, toss, re-equip, and then just mash square as soon as we get in the door frame. And that guy survives an explosion from like 2 feet away.
So the game gives enemies iframes when they're getting back to their feet after being knocked down. So you slam that guy down, and as he gets back up, the explosion goes off, and he's just completely oblivious to it.
Excellent. Our third spy report came in perfectly, and I have it set up to where our spies will be in the research lab for the 3rd diversion. Which is what we're doing, by the way. We're diverting forces away from that rail bridge we went to earlier so that we could cross it and get to a harbor. There are 4 diversionary operations in the game, but you only need to do 3 to progress, and we choose the fastest 3. And I want my spies in the research lab to end things off here, because the next time we move them, we're going to have to move them a few spaces down, and the more we have to move them is the more chances your menus are going to screw with you. So I'm actually going to crawl back behind there and grab that med kit before laying down this TNT, just for safety reasons.
Also, Snake is oblivious to it as well. Like, he can be sitting right on top of the TNT and he doesn't care either.
Yeah, no, it's not even a thing. So here we go, Rail Bridge 2. We're going to visit this another time in the run to pick up an item later. And all 3 times across the rail bridge are really, really simple matters. Shouldn't give you too much trouble. In this case, the second rail bridge trip is going to be the trickier of the 3, because there's like 1 more step you have to do before you're good to go out of here. And that's because there's a guard patrolling this bridge ahead, and I'm just going to distract him.
The enemy's here.
Yeah, so in true Metal Gear fashion, guard AI is something you can relatively easily exploit. For instance, in the Metal Gear Solid 3 engine, like we mentioned, guards will go to a default position to make calls if something, bothers them. It just so happens that when that guy runs behind the truck, he can't see Snake run past, so we just shoot his shield, and he's like, I better go tell somebody, and we just get on through all dandy-like.
So my day-night cycle is really good here because I want to be entering the harbor at night, and I removed a couple of items from my inventory. We're very limited on inventory space in this game. We have 4 slots while we're out on a mission, and we're going to be picking up 2, including one very, very, very important item. Anyone who's played a Metal Gear game before probably knows what it is.
It's the front line of infiltration technology.
The last word.
That's it, the last word in infiltration technology.
So I'm actually going to wait for this guy to move forward a little bit, and then hopefully
Just my imagination.
PSP aim doesn't screw with me too much.
What the?
Oh, well. That guy took forever to go down. Yeah, that's PSP aim for you. I
Ooh,
What was
unlucky.
that?
couldn't quite adjust quickly enough because he was about to turn around. Anyway. Yeah, that's Rip Tsuchinoko, but it's no big deal. The way I tend to do this is to headshot him and then move across the bridge. I wanted to wait because the guy behind him would have seen him go down and started investigating. Or rather, he would have called HQ, and he would have been directly in my way. So I wanted to wait a little bit before that, which, unfortunately, didn't pan out in my favor.
Yeah, Tsuchinoko is a glory thing. There's been a total of 1 Tsuchinoko run
One single
by
segment run.
Python.
One single segment run.
Multi-segment doesn't count.
And yeah, we pick up the cardboard box up on the top of the ship.
Yeah, we get our box, and if any of you are familiar with the MGS3 engine, you will know that the box, aside from making guards just completely oblivious to the fact that there's a running box in some cases, it also ignores the impact terrain has on Snake's movement speed. So you'll see Python equip the box to go up hills, because it doesn't affect you whilst you're in the box. If you're just a Snake, he will run up sometimes painfully slow, but the box makes everything okay.
The box is our best friend. The box should be your best friend too.
If the box is not your best friend, please call this number to find your box best friend.
So, that's the harbor. Now we need to move our spies again. We're going to need to move them down to the security base, which is 4 down from the research lab, which is why I wanted them there. And now we have to wait for more, another spy report. And again, if we run out of waits, we just enter and exit a mission. Time passes, reports hopefully come in. So this has not been the best spy RNG. We've had, I'd call it mediocre, average kind of spy RNG so far. So we need this spy report to this security base to spawn an item, and then I'm going to actually wait for nighttime, because the strat we're going to see here works pretty close to 100% perfectly consistently at nighttime, but at daytime it gives you some trouble sometimes.
Yeah, nighttime affects guard vision distance, not by a massive amount, but just enough that the strat Python will do here will change the behavior from a guard seeing him and like going in full alert. I think this is it.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So
Or just noticing him.
What was that?
this is why the box is our best friend. And we're actually going to remove the box before going up this ramp, just to make sure that this guy ahead won't be an issue for us. We're going to box up about halfway to the door, and then run straight for the item. And no one's the wiser. A box just infiltrated that
Enemy
base.
attacking from an unknown position.
Like, who'd have thunk?
The last word we told you.
The last word in infiltration technology.
You were warned.
Alright, so next up is warhead storage. I'm actually going to remove my box here and put on my medkits, because this mission here has been giving me some issues, because at the end of this mission there's a boss fight. And in Portable Ops, much like MGS3, again, parallels there because it's basically the same engine, but in MPO, you don't really get iframes. And the boss we're going to fight has an automatic weapon and will shred us if we give him the opportunity. And sometimes we don't even have to give him the opportunity. He'll just do it. So, in order for safety, I'm going to equip the medkits and hope for the best. And on that ramp leading downward, I stayed to the right side. That's another very important cycle thing, because there's a guard up ahead that if I had moved too quickly, she can notice me and cause an alert that way. And just roll underneath.
Also,
go ahead.
So, Python is specifically playing the PAL version of this game, and this first boss is the first time we exploit some of the things that happen in the PAL version, and I'll explain what it does. But the PAL version came out a little bit later, if I'm correct, and it brought with it a few just quality of life changes, such as Snake will automatically grab ledges if you fall off, so you don't have to put an input in. And you can drag guards to certain doors to open them, which you can't do in the Japanese or US versions. And we'll be abusing such things closer to the end of the game.
So yeah, these kind of pillars with the slots in them, those are actually laser gates and will set off alarms, which is why I kind of rolled and crawled underneath one earlier. But we needed that Mosin Nagant, and Python is going to be our first boss fight. I promise you, I'm not named after him. I promise you. But we need the Mosin Nagant to take him out non-lethally, and he's going to be the boss that we recruit to our side that I mentioned earlier. So, if you're feeling saucy, you can take a shot pretty much immediately as soon as the fight opens up. I do not feel saucy. I'm going to take this nice and safe. Yeah, it wouldn't have even worked on that one anyway. So, Python here is going to take 2 headshots and 2 body shots. And when he gives us this pattern, when he kind of... Ow, ow, ow. When he gives us the pattern where he kind of exhausts himself and aims his rifle, we can aim ourselves down to avoid taking any damage. Oh.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that only works on PAL, is just looking down.
Okay.
However... Oh dear, that was close.
Yeah.
We're okay.
This is
We're
why
okay.
the medkits...
Show me what you got.
Oh, please reload. Okay. This is why we grabbed the medkits. Oh, dear. Okay, that was pretty bad, but it's fine.
Also, take note, aiming from the hip here with the Mosin Nagant, as you can see, there's no crosshairs, so whilst it doesn't look too difficult, you are still guessing where that round is going to go.
So, that spy report is exactly what we needed, because we need our spies in the security base to get the airport. But I didn't take the spy report because I wanted to heal, and to heal I waited. So, just minor little optimization there. And I wanted to take the report before or after waiting, because the airport is the final location where we can actually just outright skip the text for the briefing.
Who is the ultimate best in Metal MGS series? Zero, Solid, or Raiden? None of them. None of them are the best.
So yeah, waiting, like I said earlier, kind of heals you a bit. Without anybody in a medical unit, it heals you for about a third for every 3 waits. So it's useful in case of situations like I just went through. Unfortunately, oh no, I forgot to put the box back on, which is fine. We're just gonna have to eat an alert here because of my my haste. So here the box is gonna would have come in handy as for another distraction to get past a guard at the top of this particular ramp here. Instead, what I'm gonna have to do is equip the Mark 22. Well, that was supposed to be a trank and a roll, but Snake just decided to kinda not. But we need that guy out of the way so that we can grab this guy. And if he's standing there, it's much easier than if he's running around.
Also, translate this, please. Any who's good at translation.
So, if I had the box, that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have had to take that alert, but that's what happens when you get a little hasty. So,
Metal Gear Rising 2 on the Fox engine? OCM.
alright, so
Fox engine would not work for that.
I'm gonna heal up again with weights, put my box back on. and take off the Mosinagon before I forget to. Because we're about to fight another boss and grab another item for that said boss.
Yeah. We're a little bit familiar with said boss we're going to come up to. He's got a different name in this game.
Speaking perfect English. Fair enough.
I guess I can translate as well.
Alright.
I would have like done a full enthusiastic scream, but there are people in my house who are enjoying their night and don't need to hear that.
So, you may have noticed I didn't box up that ramp despite re-equipping it. That's because, again, we need to set up for cycles. Now, the bump roll is not entirely as brainless as it may seem. You do need to kind of... Well, first you need to get on ladders, but you do need to kind of aim where you're sending them flying. So, I kind of kicked out to the left there before moving and rolling through. Wow. They just don't like me today. Anyway, you do need to kind of aim where you send them flying. In this case specifically.
Yeah, and in saying that, you saw Python had a bit of trouble getting with that ladder. Due to the limited amount of buttons that a PSP provided, they double mapped some buttons, and the stalk, oh dear lord, the stalk button will also be your action button in this game, and so we're going to be versing Null. Null is someone in the Metal Gear series you would probably be more familiar under a different name. However, we're doing our best to shoot the RPG at his feet and send him backwards. And the reason we do that is because obviously you don't want him getting too close. But the RPG has some absurd splash damage range. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a mistake it's that bad, but... so you see Python restarted
There we go.
because just waiting for him to walk. Yeah, and you can get him in a loop. If you aim in the right spot, he'll kind of just run at you and you can just send him back again and again. It's a lot harder than it looks though to get him to go backwards and not towards you.
So you may be wondering, if bosses count for kills, why am I trying to explode this man? And that's because Null doesn't count to that tally. Which is a very thankful thing, because Null otherwise is a huge pain. So, I'm going to put Johnny back in our sneaking unit here, and then go straight back to the silo entrance, because Snake got captured, and we got to go look for him. And it only makes sense to look for him where we last saw him, or where we last knew where he was. So older versions of this route involved taking the Mark 22 off of Snake and then putting it on Johnny and all this sort of other menuing. I have decided that that's not for me. Instead, I'm going to do something called the 180 bump grab. What happened there? I'm so confused.
Twist and to get that alert, he just kind of decided.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's what he wanted to do.
And I might take
anyway.
another alert here. No, I'm good.
No, you're good. So yeah, that there where Python transferred from the railing to the pipe.
Answer me.
On the US or JP versions, that poses some risk because you would need to press the action button to grab things as you fall, but the action button in this game doesn't always work as intended, and so the PAL version auto-grabbing ledges for us is a thing of beauty.
Yeah. So, we had to interrogate that officer, and now we don't know where to go, except we know exactly where to go. We need to go back to the rail bridge. Normally, the game expects you to have a spiral port to come here and do things. However, Mini Omega King, who was one of the guys who routed this out, discovered that if we straight up just don't take any spiral ports for this place at all, it actually makes this much nicer, because there's a guy outside of this building we're running into right here who can see through our disguise, and taking him out is a bit of a pain. Now he's in here, and he's much easier to deal with.
Yeah, so the people who can see through your disguise is, scientists and nurses. For some reason, they can just tell you're not actually a soldier. And some officers, like certain specific characters, can just be like, wait a minute.
And Jaguar King in chat says that I rolled, and yeah, I did roll. The first time you go through the map, you're not supposed to roll at all. The second turn, you do roll, which is why I'm so confused as to why he was in a position to call an alert in. I think I swung out a little too wide off of the second ramp. I should have ducked behind the crates a little bit. But either way, what's done is done. But yeah, we're gonna be visiting the the silo entrance a third time as well, and again, we're not gonna be rolling up those ramps to set up cycles nicely. In the meantime, we're here in the guest house, which is generally casually a big maze kind of level, but for the speedrun, it's nice and simple. And we're using a soldier with the same outfit, so we don't even have to worry about any guards or anything.
Yeah, this level is a lot of stick to the left wall.
And yeah, these levels are decently laid out for a PSP game with the hardware they were working with. All right, so now we got Snake back. We're gonna put him back in our unit. We should have everything we need. I'm gonna check really quickly. I just have 3 rounds. That's normal. So now we head into the plant, and in the plant, we're finally gonna come face to face with Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear with 2 X's.
It's twice as extreme as any other Metal Gear you've ever seen in the past.
Yeah, Metal Gear Russia is. I think this Metal Gear is definitely a her.
Yeah.
So Metal Gear Russia is her name.
So first off, we got to make our way through the stage, which involves actually shooting people in the head, maybe.
Python always says this shot is free, but I always miss. And
The first shot should be free, and the second shot is against the stationary target, so of course that should be free as well. But you know, why not just pop off a little bit, shoot some
yeah, we got plenty of bullets. Metal Gear waifus. That's Elza. That's actually no. Venus is the real Metal Gear waifu. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's not. So to start Rasha, we're gonna stand right in front of her, and we're gonna fire 3 rounds straight into between the legs. So this,
Yeah. So
go ahead.
this is Python's. We call it the laziness strat. Instead of aiming for the feet individually, one day Python's just like, I'm gonna aim close enough to the feet. And he found out that you can actually do splash damage to all 4 legs at once.
So
And when the legs explode...
So the old strat was actually to place a very, very tightly spotted TNT pack, or a few, in order to take the legs out. I decided to say screw that, I'm not doing any of that. So we should be in phase 2, but Rasha is feeling uncooperative apparently, so there we go. That'll be phase 2. So Rasha, please. So we need Rasha to fly up and land again in order to actually trigger the second phase here. Oh. Just trying to hide from those rockets, not specifically from Rasha, but okay. But yeah, we need her to fly up and land back again in order to initiate phase 2. Because in phase 2, she flops forward. Hello?
All 4 legs look destroyed to me.
Please run, Snake.
Okay.
So, that should do it. I hope. So, as soon as she lands, she should flop forward a bit and begin phase 2. There we go. That was weird. Anyway, in phase 2, she's going to open up her arm flaps in order to shoot missiles at me, and that's exactly what we want, because we want to aim directly in the middle of these wingtips so that we can deal maximum damage, and hopefully, didn't quite get it, but we can take out her arms in 4 shots. This time it was 5, which is still a pretty good phase 2.
That's not a bad phase 2. So that's Metal Gear Russia, and that's the only time we see Metal Gear Russia, at least in terms of the speedrun. You might see her in the story, can't remember. Also, if I remember correctly, rest in peace, Johnny here.
Yes, rest in peace, Johnny. And no, I'm making plenty of mistakes. This game is kind of punishing. So we need to actually send our spies down to the silo entrance now. Ooh, good luck on that one. And then after we get that report, we're going to change their position again up to the ravine, which is thankfully one stage up. Ooh, perfect. So I didn't have to enter an exit mission for this, and now we get to go to the ravine, but before we do that, I'm actually going to send my guys now to the technical unit. We are finally finished with all of the spy RNG of any sort. Now we just need them in the tech unit to make a thing in a couple of stages, and we'll be good to go. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm playing flawlessly. This is... I would call it, like, 50-50 on the blame game, if anything.
It's a marathon. It's a marathon, and it's very early in the morning.
So, here we're actually going to dive off of that railing, get down here quickly. Otherwise, we'd have to go around a bunch of places, and then we're going to line up very specifically right around there. And thanks, PAL version.
Yeah, so... Ravine roll. We abuse the auto grab. That would be a nightmare to do on any other version.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible, but I wouldn't suggest it.
And also, the snake, specifically Big Boss, broken legs don't phase him. He's just learnt that his leg is basically always going to be broken.
So,
Python is in America, so it's about 5 a.m. for him.
I'm actually going to put that RPG back on because we're going to need it, but I'll take off that that second item so we can pick up a spare thing here. So very recently, and by very recently I mean within the last like 2 weeks, there has been a routing change for this mission in particular, and it's going to be a tight fit. So I'm going to try to explain it before I get there, but I'm going to box up a ramp and try not to bump into too much on the way to a ladder, which I have to fall down and latch onto basically immediately up here. So that should do it, because that guy, if he gets close enough, can see us, but in this case we're good. Yes, I'm East Coast US, and we grab those med kits, jump off here, and we can rush over to this corner right over here. And through a couple of doors, and we'll be at our mission objective. And I'm really glad that I came into this mission at nighttime, because otherwise that strat gets a whole lot dicier. So, we moved our guys over to the technical unit because they need to make a time bomb for us, which means we need to wait for them to do such a thing. Because if we detonate the power breaker there, we need to open a door in the silo entrance, and if we blow it up now without being there, there's a backup generator that would kick on after 5 minutes, and, well, we'd miss our window of opportunity, so we need a time bomb in order to do this. So, we have our time bomb, we removed our medical kits, put the time bomb on, and back into the power substation we go. Now, I kept the RPG on because, surprising to probably nobody, we're going to fight Null again.
Yeah, Noel's a bro. He always comes to check up on us when things are going tough. And by check up on us, he really, really wants to kill us.
Yeah, also, work has begun on a detonation timer as they've finished the thing. Thanks localization. Did a great job. So here, I'm going to do basically the same thing. I'm going to be careful because now there's a guy over on that side who can hear you as you drop down and cause issues.
Yeah, the idea is if you drop just a little bit to the left of the ladder, he won't hear you, but...
So here, bump roll into that lady. Sorry, strafe machine, if you're here. If not, ha, got him.
The enemy is close by.
Strafe probably asleep. Actually, it's
No, it would
It's
be
not that late.
It would be nice and early in the morning for him. Not as early as it is for me, but you know. Anyway, place the time bomb down and we start the boss fight.
Waifu. Oh dear. Yeah, so this bomb makes Null just spawn. He's just. There's no other explanation.
Oof, that's not good. Actually, that should be okay. That's less good.
Wow, that was so weird. That splash damage sent you towards where the rocket exploded.
So back here, there's a hidden alcove with some medkits in them. Take them, use them, in case I need to. I shouldn't, because at this point, I should have Null right where I want him, but just in case. Okay, that's less good, but I can work with it. Okay, now I have to move, and no, I don't need to equip the box. I don't need to equip the box, I said. Whoa. So, normally you can just stand in place and take out Null that way, but, you know. I didn't even need to use a medkit, thankfully. However, here I will heal. So, this stage is a whole lot of fun, and by a whole lot of fun, I mean terrifying.
Silo Entrance 3,
yeah.
where Tsuchinoko comes to die.
Using medkits does not affect rank, thankfully. So again, we're just going to run up this ramp in order to set cycles nicely enough, instead of boxing or rolling. So, just nice and casually up the ramp. And it's going to be much like the first time we were here. This guy's going to be ducked behind here, take him, and we're going to roll over this railing. And we're going to have to try and make a very tough jump, like so. That is much harder than it seems to be.
Well, and I'll explain a little bit why that is harder. This game, as I mentioned at the very start of the run, has a low frame rate, which translates into some hectic input lag for your rolls specifically. So you need to, like, press at the right time as you're turning, as you're lining up with the box, and it's quite a it's quite a thing.
Yeah. So, thankfully, we got out of there without an alert. That you can easily take an alert and continue at that point if you're not careful. But that's not the hardest mission in the game. It's difficult in that you can lose a rank to it, but this here, Silo Complex 1, this is where all your techniques come into play. This is where everything starts actually coming together. Incidentally, it makes it the neatest looking stage in the game for the speedrun. So
It seems much easier than it is every speedrunner every time.
So I wanted to wait till this guy moved forward and stopped. Otherwise, there's a guard behind me that would notice me. Okay, Windows, thanks for your input. So we're gonna call Ghost here. It doesn't give us a response, but it puts us closer to a frequency we actually do want to call to open up this door up ahead. Which, by the way, I just remembered this was a thing as soon as I was opening the codec menu. Thanks, Marlon.
Yeah, so
The enemy is close
what you saw just before was another beauty of the PAL version coming and dragging that dude to the door. Otherwise, you'd have to go find a card key, which is for an extra minute or so, nearly 2. So we're just going to abuse door opening by dragging them towards it and then pushing them away and running through.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for your service, friend.
Give me a moment to focus here, because this is actually tricky here. No, don't drop. I need the chaff. Drop a chaff. Stand up. Equip Mark 22.
What's that?
Shoot the wall. Come around here. Grab this idiot. Drag him to the door. And just dump him. And that is the most difficult part of this particular mission. Is getting that timing down. And while that chaff is still running, we want to grab the key. jump off the railing very carefully. And for safety, I'm going to open the door and grab these med kits. There's one there, and we got 2 more in this room over here. And we are out of this mission scot-free. As long as we land in the mission marker.
You were half in it. But only half.
Yeah, you know, not enough, clearly. Okay, so up next is another boss. In fact, we're up to the boss rush portion of the game. And chat, how are you feeling about killing? No kill, says Spring.
No kill. You're making this boss fight longer. Just saying.
So Cunningham is another one of the bosses that the kill does. Kill.
Kill is bad.
So Cunningham is another one of the bosses that does count for a kill counter. Live for the kill, lots of kill, a few no kills. Killing is bad, okay?
Oh, there's a rush of kill. There's a rush of kill. Kill everything. MGS tactical espionage action.
The chat has spoken. I must murder this man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit here. We're never going to move, and we're gonna shoot him a whole lot in his stupid, dumb bandana Dalek riding face.
As you can tell, Python is a real big fan of Cunningham.
Oops, I totally should not have been reloading here. So this fight, you really want to be tactically reloading, especially because the M60 takes forever to reload. But yeah, we're crouching because it'll actually increase our aiming accuracy, even auto aiming. So
Unlucky that the missiles didn't fly into your M60 bullet path. Usually the M60 will just shoot him out of the air.
and that's Cunningham. Now you can do this with the Mark 22 in tandem with the M60 for the Tsuchinoko run rank. But seeing as how we've missed the boat on that, I decided to leave it up to chat. But that leaves us up to the if you thought we were up to some pretty difficult parts before, you've seen nothing yet. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to waste a little bit of time and put these guys in a medical unit. And that'll slightly improve the amount of health I get from waiting. Which is going to be potentially important.
Alright, we're into the launch control room.
Yo, Drix.
Can't remember what we're launching, but we're launching something. Well, they're launching something.
They're
Probably
launching
a nuke. It's Metal Gear.
They're launching a Metal Gear, which has a nuke. Because Rasha wasn't actually the real Metal Gear. It was a test model.
It was all smoke and mirrors.
So here's Gene.
It was an elaborate ruse. And yeah, Gene. Gene is fun. He's like telepathic slash loves to throw knives at you slash has silly amounts of iframes. And Gene, I feel, has bipolar. Gene will either behave, or he will want you dead, and he'll want you dead very hard.
So we want him to
so-
do what he just did there. We want him to charge at us so that we can take out the Mosin Nagant and headshot him. And we don't want to see this at all! That's the cardboard box. Please stop.
Yeah, the knife spam, because I don't know if any of you play Overwatch. Gene just pulls knives from the void, and he can throw about 100 of them at you, and you don't get any iframes, so yeah, they'll all hit you. And they're ruthless. They will, like, shred you.
So you can shoot him while he's running away, or during his attack animations, or after he's finished with this dumb thing. That's about the bounds of his iframes. It's not a whole lot of fun sometimes.
Aiming your rifles at your neighbors. Your comrade.
And
He's
he will chip you down easily.
Is there?
he's inexplicably invincible in illogical times, and the phase where, like, he goes full telepathic and gets inside your head and makes the screen go purple. There he is really annoying because you need to hit him to end it, and he can dodge a lot.
It might as well be Dio, yeah. Oh, run. Okay. And this should be the last shot, and time.
Alright, well, I'm gonna put him to sleep with the Mosendagan, and down goes Gene, and that's a GG.
GG.
Yo, thanks. So,
53-27.
cool. Not bad. Can't complain. Underestimate. So, for most Metal Gear games, RTA doesn't matter. It's all about the in-game time. But these credits and the post-credit scene take about, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes. So I'm not going to make you guys sit through that. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to learn any sort of Metal Gear speedrun, we have a growing community of very helpful folk over at the MGSR, Metal Gear Speedrunners. We have a website you can visit, metalgearspeedrunners.com. We got a Discord. Come join us.
Yeah, if you find our website, our Discord's there. It's on speedrun.com. It's all over the place.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks again everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Kind of flubbed the Tsuchinoko, but I wasn't kind of expecting it in another single segment run just yet anyway. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy Fallout 3 by Noob Salmon coming up next.